How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
Okay, so I got on Marvel a little bit, so it's only fair that guy light a fire under DC's ass. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Adaptation Station, a segment on my channel where I talk about certain adaptations and compare them to their source material counterparts. And today we will be looking at DC's Injustice. Now Injustice started out as a DC fighting game created by NetherRealm Studios. The story mode of this game tells the tale of an alternate universe in which Superman is an evil dictator who rules with an iron fist, along with several members of the Justice League. Meanwhile, Batman tries with his own team to take Superman down and restore order to the world. And along with the Injustice video game, we also have the Injustice comics that take place 5 years prior, explaining how exactly things came to be. And that's what the movie is adapting. It takes key moments from year 1, a dash of year 2, a bit of year 5, topped off with a couple of video game shenanigans in there, with just a sprinkle of the Injustice 2 comics. Now I know what you're thinking, that sounds like an awful lot to put into one movie, and because of that the movie could suffer as a result. And I thought the exact same thing, but then when I actually watched the film, I came to the understanding that we were absolutely correct. This film is fucking trash, man. Seriously, I would not wish this shit on my worst enemy. It was that bad. But to be fair, at least I knew the movie was gonna be bad because I actually read the comics, so I knew what was gonna happen. So when they were showing certain scenes, when talking about making Injustice and all this shit, and I was just like, there is no way they're going to be able to do Injustice, well, for lack of a better word, justice. So when people saw the announcement that there was going to be an Injustice movie and got all super excited for it, I can only assume that they were excited because they thought they were going to be adapting the video game into a film, because the exact same people who are excited for it are pissed as hell about the final product. Meanwhile, I'm just over here like, but with that being said, let's get into talking about this shit, starting with the characters. Now, if I were to ask you guys who the real villain of Injustice is, I guarantee you most of you guys would get that shit wrong. Is it Superman? No. Is it the Joker? Again, no. It's motherfucking Batman.
What did he say?
Now, I know I lost a couple of y'all there, so let me explain. You see, after Superman kills the Joker, Superman isn't immediately evil, though he does go down the slippery slope into villainy until he eventually becomes the Superman we know him to be in the game. Now, my problem with Batman lies in the fact that after Superman murders the Joker, Batman immediately turns on Superman. Like, he doesn't try to console him about what happened, he doesn't try to be a friend to him, it's just fuck you, Clark. Now again, Superman didn't automatically turn evil after the death of the Joker. He just needed time to process everything that had happened. And I feel like if Batman had been on his side, if he had been more of a friend to Superman in his time of need, a lot of the shit that happens in Injustice could have been prevented. But Batman pretty much made an inevitability that shit was going to turn out this way. He basically made it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Hell, fucking Sasuke Uchiha is a better best friend than Batman is to Superman in Injustice. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but still, Batman's a fucking snake. No tea, no shade. They toned that down a little bit in the film, but not because it was a creative choice, but they don't have the proper time to show Batman in full dictumhood, considering that the movie is less than 2 hours long, but they have to try to cover 5 to 6 hours worth of content in that time. And the result is Batman is retroactively a tiny bit better in the movie. One of very few positive things I can say about the film. Getting on to Superman, because things are so rushed in the film, it never feels like Kal-El is going on a journey to villainy. It feels like he was almost always like this. The comic book version of events gave us time to breathe with this character, so when he was making these morally gray decisions, he still felt very much like Superman. He felt like he was still trying to do the right thing, even though it means he may have to bend the rules a bit. Here in the film, again, because things are happening at such a quickened pace, you don't get a chance to connect with Superman. Like, the film shows Superman be good for like 5-10 minutes max, and then the rest of the film is just Superman being super angry, super punchy, and super ready to kill. And while he is also like that in the comics, again, it felt more like a journey, not a light switch. Here's a fun fact: Ma Kent is not dead in the Injustice universe. She is very much alive along with Pa Kent. The only reason I can think of why Ma Kent is not in there is because they already have plenty enough characters as it is, and they're having a tough enough time balancing out all these characters, so they got rid of a few, which I'll go back to in a moment. Now, Pa Kent's death seems to serve as a way to push Superman further into villainy, so they kill him off, which I think is dumb considering the fact that the comic book was able to do this without sacrificing Ma and Pa Kent, and while time restraints are again a factor here, they could have still had Clark go off the rails like he did in the comic, and y'all were not to kill off the old man, but I guess y'all just really want to do that, so you do you, movie. Okay, so Mr. Terrific, a guy who had absolutely nothing to do with the Injustice conflict, is now in the movie just so Batman can have a smart person on his team. And he's also here to take moments from certain other characters, but you know, we'll get to that. Wonder Woman is little more than Superman's cheerleader in the film. I mean, she was also kind of that way in the comics, but here in the film, that's literally all she is. Damian Wayne has been made a little bit better and somewhat more redeemable in the film than how he is in the comics. Where in the comics, both him and Batman just outright don't like each other. In the film, it shows potential for Damian to be forgiven. Okay, so Harley Quinn probably pissed me off in this film more so than she ever has in anything ever. Because unlike in the comic where she acts insane, here in the film she acts retarded. For example, when she lets out the inmates in Arkham Asylum. Now in the comic book, she does this because she wants revenge on Superman for killing the Joker. But in the movie, she does this because she claims she's a hero now and she wants to help Batman stop Superman from taking away the inmates by releasing all the inmates. Now one could argue that the original version wasn't all that smart either, but there's a difference between somebody being not that smart and somebody being flat out stupid. Like in the comic, at least she had a motivation for why she was doing what she did, that being she wants to avenge the Joker. But in the film, she claims she wants to help and just adds more work than needed onto Batman. Hell, she's partially the reason why Nightwing is dead. So I don't know why the fuck Batman's letting you on the team. Aside desperation maybe. Just saying, Harley, when you go to hell, I hope the Joker continues to beat you senseless because you are the stupidest shit. Each time she was on screen, I was praying for Superman to just burst in and burn a hole through her face. At least in the comic and the game, she's somewhat entertaining, but here in the film, she's just annoying as fuck. Okay, characters like Hawkman and Cyborg were not supposed to die in the fight with Amazo. Hawkman was supposed to die in a one-on-one fight with Superman, and Cyborg doesn't die at all in Injustice, so it's kind of weird why they killed him off. It's even weirder how they choose to kill him off, because in the film, Cyborg dies because Amazo rips off the cybernetic side of Cyborg's face. However, in Injustice Year 2, Jim Gordon does the exact same fucking thing, and Cyborg's still alive. So what the fuck, film? Okay, so Lois Lane is here 2 times in the film. One time at the beginning, where we obviously know what happens, and another time at the end, where they get Lois from an alternate Earth to calm down the Injustice Superman. And my question is, why didn't they pull her out sooner? Why did we need this big Superman on Superman battle that amounted to nothing because the Injustice Superman wins? Hey, I'm just asking for some logic here, not the Hope Diamond. Okay, I guess I can't put it off anymore. The audacity, the utter disrespect, the outright injustice of Barry Allen in this movie. I thought Ronald Weasley was character assassinated in the Harry Potter film, but compared to this, he looks like a fucking all-star. So the Flash, Barry Allen, the guy who was the voice of reason on Superman's team, the guy who was almost like a mediator between Superman and Batman's teams in the Injustice conflict, he's given about 15 seconds of screen time, then he's dead, just like that. And each and every one of Flash's moments is taken by some other character in the film. The thing that really pisses me off is that there are already several characters from Injustice that are not in this movie, and if you didn't want Barry Allen in here, then why the fuck did you put him in the goddamn movie? They don't even mention his death, they don't even act like the dude died. Flash isn't even one of my favorite characters in DC, but did you have to do him this motherfucking dirty though? Like, that was just super unnecessary. Seriously, whoever wrote that in the movie needs to be fired immediately. Seriously, I dare somebody to find me a reason for why that was necessary. So anyway, time to talk about characters that were not included. Ares, the Greek god of war, would occasionally come in out of fear that if Superman's plan succeeds and he's able to rid the world of crime, there will be no more war, thus rendering him powerless. Black Canary is also noticeably absent from the conflict in this film, as well as Martian Manhunter, Black Lightning, Batwoman, and most noticeably Lex Luthor, who, for those of you that don't know, is best friends with Superman in this universe, and had a pretty substantial role in Injustice as a whole. Also, Also, Alfred is absent from the film as well, which is a shame because the only thing I was looking forward to from this film was seeing Alfred kick Superman's ass. That's all I wanted, and I was denied even that. But beggars can't be choosers, I suppose, so let's move on to adaptation accuracy, because I think it's fair that before we talk about everything they got wrong, we should talk about the things that they got right, or at least semi-right. So here we go. Superman waking up to find out that Lois is pregnant, and later that day rushing over to tell Batman the good news. Batman showing up in Metropolis due to the machinations of the Joker. The Joker shooting dead Jimmy Olsen and kidnapping Lois Lane. Superman unable to locate Lois and enlisting the help of Batman and the rest of the Justice League to find her. Superman being tricked by the Joker into believing that he's fighting Doomsday when in fact it's Lois Lane. A nuclear bomb being detonated in Metropolis, killing its residents, when Lois is inadvertently killed due to the bomb being linked to her heartbeat. A grief-stricken Superman busting into Arkham Asylum and murdering the Joker despite the best efforts of Hal Jordan. Green Arrow taking Harley Quinn to the Arrow Cave for her own safety. Superman revealing his identity to the world and stopping wars by force in order to bring about peace. This catching the attention of the US government enlists the help of Mirror Master to abduct Superman's parents, or parent in the film, to keep Superman in line. Superman and the Justice League, minus Batman, going after Mirror Master in order to get his parent back. Superman rightfully calling out Batman on why he didn't help him out with this, or anything since the incident with the Joker. The conversation between them ending on less than savory terms. Superman going over to Arkham Asylum along with other members of the Justice League to take the residents to another facility, with Batman and Nightwing following suit, and Damian Wayne somehow beating him there. A big battle royale between heroes and villains, courtesy of Harley Quinn releasing all the inmates. Nightwing's accidental and may I say stupid ass death at the hands of Damian Wayne when he loses his patience and hits Nightwing square in the head with one of his Cali sticks. Batman disowning Damian after this, and both heroes and villains showing Batman respect as he walks out of the asylum with his dead son. Superman convincing Catwoman to check on Batman after this horrific event. A supervillain influencing Superman to go further down this slippery slope of evil. Batman devising a plan to sneak into the Fortress of Solitude to steal something that will turn the tide against Superman, using the US military as a small window of opportunity in order to do this. Superman getting wise to the ruse, makes an immediate beeline to the Fortress of Solitude. Batman wanting to abort the mission after finding out that Superman has family at the Fortress of Solitude, only for it to be too late as Superman shows up almost immediately. The Atom being inside Superman's brain with a microscopic piece of kryptonite, rendering Superman virtually powerless. Green Arrow attempting to shoot Superman with an arrow, only for that arrow to be deflected off Superman's body and hitting Jonathan Kent. This enraging Superman to the point of killing Green Arrow. Superman turned the entire world into a police state. Superman killing a group of Joker acolytes. Dick Grayson becoming Deadman after, well, being dead. A fight with Amazo. Another fight that consists of Superman fighting, well, Superman. And the whole thing ending with evil Superman going into a Red Sun prison. Well, thank God they cut out as much stuff as they did, or we could have been here much longer. But with all that being said, it's time to have some criticism. So like I said, I wasn't expecting a 10 out of 10 movie from the start, but I wasn't expecting it to be this bad either. So, first things first, let's talk about how condensed this movie feels. Anybody who's read the comic book knows that this feels very cramped and rushed all at the same time. Like the whole film just feels like a bunch of events happening back to back to back to back. There's never any real time to breathe. For example, the deaths that happen in this film all feel very unceremonious. Everybody feels like they're just dying for the sake of the film saying anybody can die at any moment. And sure, some people might say, well, Lois's death had emotional impact, considering that that's why Superman's doing all this stuff in the first place. And I'm not disagreeing with you, but the problem that I have with that, though, is that literally moments before, Barry Allen the Flash dies for literally no good reason at all, and nobody seems to fucking care. And again, if you didn't want Flash in the movie, that'd be fine, but don't have him in there for 15 goddamn fucking seconds, just to kill him off like he ain't shit. You see, because of Barry's idiotic and non-necessary death, by the time the Metropolis massacre happens, I'm having a hard time processing that because I'm still trying to process the fact that the Flash is fucking dead. Flash isn't like Jimmy Olsen, he's a major character, you can't just do him like that. I don't know, man, maybe I'm just the only one that feels that way, but anyway. I think the worst death next to Barry Allen's is Green Arrow's, because with Green Arrow's death in Injustice, that's supposed to signify Superman has gone down the path of no return. Because up until that point, Superman has only been killing villains, or when he's had no other choice but to kill. But Green Arrow's death, even though those of us who played the video game saw it coming, were still very shocked to see it play out in the pages of the Injustice comic. This shows that Superman is now willing to kill both friend and foe alike, and in the film it's just treated like a meh, whatever type of moment, and that definitely shouldn't be. On top of that, the voice acting for the most part was terrible. I think Dick Grayson and Green Arrow give like the best performances, and every once in a while the guy they got to play Superman will try, but everyone else sounds like they're reading straight off a script, like they don't even want to be here. And I guess for a film like this I can't blame you, but still, try to earn that paycheck. And on top of that, the animation looks kinda stiff. Like you can tell this was one of those movies that was made on a budget. Like they do not want these characters to move more than necessary, which don't get me wrong, I can understand having to cut costs, but the problem is they are cutting so many corners that the comic book feels more alive than the animation. Like unfortunately I can't show you guys video footage because Warner Brothers is very aggressive when it comes to copyright, but just look at these images side by side and you'll understand a little bit about what I mean. Like you can feel the actions, you can feel the emotion emanating from the page. Now I'm not saying that the movie need to look as good or as polished as the comic book does, but I should be every bit as invested when watching the movie as I am reading the book. But I'm not, because the film doesn't feel as authentic as the comic book does. And again, it feels very rushed and sloppy for the sake of trying to piece all these arcs together. But speaking of, let's talk about some things that they cut out or otherwise replaced. So as mentioned before, in the comic book, Superman and Lex Luthor are best friends in the Injustice universe. Lex actually survived the destruction of Metropolis due to the actions of Jesse Quick. However, after getting Lex to safety, she goes back out to try to save people but is not able to outrun the explosion. Lex is later found by Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, and it's he who originally has the idea to want to help Superman better police the world by making these Kryptonian super pills that will temporarily increase a normal person's strength and durability. While I wouldn't say that you're on par with Superman, you do have bulletproof invulnerability and enhanced strength. Superman's super army gets replaced with the T-Spears in the film though, as Lex Luthor is omitted entirely. The super pill was also the original reason why Batman wanted to sneak into the Fortress of Solitude, for he knew this would get Superman and his team a major advantage, and the only way Batman and his team would be able to compete is if they stole one for themselves and synthesized their own. Things play out similarly to how they do in the film, with Batman and his team successfully sneaking into the fortress, only to find out that Superman has family there and they don't want Superman to think that they're after his family, only for them to be too late as Superman arrives, choking the hell out of Captain Atom. Now the differences occur when, in the film, Captain Atom goes down like a bitch, and Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins arrive. In the comic book, however, Ra's and the League of Assassins are nowhere to be found, and Captain Atom actually starts throwing some hands Superman's way. He's actually putting up a pretty good fight against Superman too, until Wonder Woman comes in and slices his neck open. This causes Captain Atom to explode, but before he does, he takes Superman high up into space due to the fact that he has orders from the government to kill Superman should the opportunity arise, and he doesn't want to hurt anybody else. Superman survives, however, and Wonder Woman, who got caught in the blast, is gravely injured. Superman then returns to the Fortress of Solitude to confront Oliver. Oh yeah, by the way, Oliver Queen got separated from the rest of Batman's group during the Superman vs. Captain Atom fight when part of the ceiling collapsed, unfortunately leaving Green Arrow to confront Superman alone. Now Green Arrow does shoot Superman with an arrow, and it does deflect off of Superman and hits Jonathan Kent, but it hits him in the shoulder and he survives. Superman, pissed as all hell about this, bitch slaps Oliver into the next room and then proceeds to viciously beat Green Arrow to death, but not before he's able to send an arrow past Superman with one of the super pills over to Batman. Yeah, in the comic he dies a true hero, whereas in the film he just dies a bitch. Also, the part with the atom being inside Superman's head wasn't supposed to take place until Injustice 2, not to be mistaken for Injustice Year 2, mind you. For these events take place after the events of Injustice Gods Among Us, but before the events of Injustice 2. Where in the Injustice 2 comic, Superman is in his Red Sun prison, but as an extra precaution should he ever escape, the atom is in Superman's head with a tiny piece of kryptonite that he can use to probe at Superman's brain should he ever run amok. The plot with Ra's al Ghul and Amazo also happens during the Injustice 2 comics, but it has nothing to do with Superman and his regime. Plastic Man's moment of going into Superman's prison in order to get somebody out was quite a ways watered down in the movie. See, in the comic, he isn't going to the prison on Batman's orders, he's going in of his own accord, and he's doing this to save his son, not Mr. Terrific. He accomplishes this by taking the Flash and putting the Flash somewhere. I don't know what he does to the Flash, but he gets rid of the Flash, temporarily. He then proceeds to take the form of the Flash and convinces Cyborg to tell him about the prison by saying saying that Plastic Man's gonna try to save his son, when really he's Plastic Man. So Cyborg's basically giving him all the information he needs. He then proceeds to go down into the prison and frees his son, but things do get a little tricky from there, as Metamorpho shows up and he has no intention of letting Plastic Man and his son leave. On top of that, Superman, Wonder Woman, Hal Jordan, and Sinestro show up just outside the prison, and so things couldn't look any more bleak. That is until Plastic Man gives the captive Green Lanterns their rings back, things that he had previously stolen under his guise as the Flash. Sinestro panics and shoots through the dome, killing Kilowog, but also breaking the dome. Plastic Man holds it together the best he can while the others escape using Mirror Master's belt that Plastic Man had brought along with him. After everybody's safe, Plastic Man escapes himself along with his son. And while Plastic Man does help out a little bit in the Injustice 2 comics as well, that was his contribution in Injustice 1. Oh, and the villain that was pushing Superman into further villainy was Sinestro, not Ra's al Ghul. He appears early in year 2, doing his Sinestro trickery, slowly warming his way into Superman's group. Nightwing becoming Deadman does happen in the comics as well, but that's only because the old Deadman had died. Here in the film, Boston Rand is nowhere to be found, yet he still becomes Deadman. But you know what, it's fine, I mean, why apply logic now, right? Now, I'm talking about all this because 1, it's way better than what the fuck we got in the film, and 2, most of the stuff that I just talked about were key moments in the Injustice comics, and you can't just get rid of them due to time restraints. And again, I understand they only have a limited amount of time to work with, but that's what they need to think about before making a fucking movie with so much shit to cover. Like, it's not my fault that they can't pick their battles well enough when it comes to adaptation. Like, when you look at this movie, you feel like they just want to do it and get it over with. And you can tell too because they give you a closed ending to this conflict. Like, it isn't an open ending like it usually is when it comes to Injustice. No, it's a done deal. So there is no year 2, year 3, year 4, none of that shit. It's over. You wanna know what this movie is really? It is the perfect example of how events are not stories. Like, it has plenty of events that happen from the comic in the film, just without all the proper setup, character development, aftermath, pacing, and all other such things that make these stories great. What they could have done is turn this into a show and put it on HBO Max. I guarantee people will watch the shit out of that. Or if you have to turn it into a movie that badly, then turn it into a movie based off the events of the video game, not the comics. This way, a lot of the legwork has already been done for you, but instead they decide to do it in this stupid ass way, and it's hard for me to feel sorry for them when they do it to themselves, because this could have been made so much simpler. Injustice is hailed as one of the best DC stories, and yet they managed to find a way to fuck it up. So I'm gonna rate this one a total adaptation fail, 0 out of 10. I regret nothing. But let me know what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy the Injustice movie? And if so, why? I'm just curious. As always, if you liked anything I had to say, don't forget to hit the like and click subscribe. Also, follow me on these social media platforms. You wouldn't want to commit treason now, would you?